Oh my word, what a day. Right, bear with me 2 secs, guys, if you can see me, if you're with me. What is going on? Right. Bear with. Welcome to anyone that's watching on YouTube. What the hell has happened? What the hell has happened? I'm just putting out a tweet. Right, we're here. Oh my days, drinks on me. Any Spurs news today, mate? Yeah, I think a bit quiet, Gary. Actually, a bit quiet on the old Spurs front. What do we? How do we respond to this? War is over. Unironically speechless, I can't lie, says Papa Matasar lover. Me too, mate. Title charge? Could we? Oh my days. Daniel Levy has left. We're going to read the statement. We're going to react to it. We're going to talk about what this potentially means. We're going to react to Twitter. We're going to see what the hell people think. What the hell everyone's saying. Get involved. Make sure to subscribe. Christmas has come early. Scandal dropping soon. Are you sure it's not April Fool's? I don't think so, mate. It doesn't look very April Fool's-y to me. Oh my word. Hold on, I'm just trying to... I'm going to be live for a while, guys. We need to get into... We need to chat. We need to talk. So lock in, get comfy. I'm just trying to sort my screens out so I can see the chat as well as you guys. See the chat as well as what I'm doing. Oh my god, what happens now, Lewis? I don't know, mate. I honestly couldn't tell you what happens now. Romero going to play out of his mind now. Mate, why do you think Romero signed the new contract? Levy is gone, ole ole. How people realise the structure of the club stays exactly the same. So we're going to talk about that now. I just want to get up something from Ali Gold as well. And yeah, we'll react to everyone's thoughts. So let's read the statement out first and foremost. Do I reckon this is due to a possible sale of the club? We'll talk about that. Tottenham Hotspur. I don't know if you guys can see this. Tottenham Hotspur announces that Daniel Levy has today stepped down from his role as executive chairman after nearly 25 years. Tottenham Hotspur has been transformed over the last quarter of a century. It's played in European competitions in 18 of the last 20 seasons, becoming one of the world's most recognised football clubs, consistently investing in its academy, players and facilities, including a new world-class stadium and the state-of-the-art training centre. The club has also competed regularly at the highest level, enjoying a number of fantastic on-field successes, including the recent Europa League win. As part of its succession planning, the club has made a number of senior appointments in recent months. This was on the cards for a long time. Or for a while, at least. Vinay Venkateshan was hired as Chief Executive Officer, new CEO, with Thomas Frank as our brand new men's head coach, and Martin Ho as women's head coach. Peter Charrington joined the board and will step into the newly created role of non-executive chairman. Peter Charrington is the new non-executive chairman. Levy was executive chairman. So Vinay Venkateshan is hands-on with the day-to-day running of the club as CEO. Levy and his family still own or are beneficiaries of 29.88% of ENIC's share of the club. Now, that's important to remember. As Gary says there, Levy still owns all of his shares. This is all part of the club's ambition to ensure that it is set up to deliver long-term sporting success. Now, that makes me think that they are almost kind of clearing house, clearing the decks for some sort of takeover. What Ali said is slightly wrong. In what sense, Gary? But we'll come back to that. I'm also going to go live on TikTok, by the way. Just quickly setting that up and just put my phone down here. Let's all shave our heads in solidarity. Wow. Pouring out for Levy tonight. Levy doesn't own any shares. He is a potential beneficiary. It's trust law, but he doesn't actually own any shares. Okay. Some people are essentially saying that like those shares in Enoch are almost like Levy's pension, basically. TikTok, I'm live on YouTube. YouTube, I'm live on TikTok, vice versa. Daniel Levy said, I'm incredibly proud of the work I've done together with the executive team and all our employees. We have built this club into a global heavyweight competing at the highest level. More than that, we've built a community. I was lucky enough to work with some of the greatest people in the sport, from the team at Lily White House and Hotspur Way to all the players and managers over the years. I wish to thank all the fans that have supported me over the years. It hasn't always been an easy journey, but significant progress has been made. I'll continue to support this club passionately. Now, whatever you think of Levy, from a whether you like him, you love him, you hate him, whatever, that is true. And Levy ultimately has left Tottenham in a much better place than he found it. That is a fact, right? I'll continue to support this club passionately. Peter Charrington, non-executive chairman, said, I'm very honoured to become non-executive chairman of this extraordinary club, and on behalf of the board, I would like to thank Daniel and his family for their commitment and loyalty to the club over so many years. This is a new era of leadership for the club, on and off the pitch. I do recognise there's been a lot of change in recent months as we put in place new foundations for the future. We are now fully focused on stability and empowering our talented people across the club, led by Vinay and his executive team. Wow. Why did he do that interview with Gary Neville just a month before his departure? I mean, interestingly, in the Gary Neville interview on the Overlap, he did say, didn't he? He was like, they'll thank me when I'm gone. It was all those kind of vibes. And maybe the reason that he didn't go too much into maybe some of the stuff you'd expect him to, talking about the running of the club and all that kind of stuff, is because he was going. There are no changes to the ownership or shareholder structure of the club. Now, it doesn't say as of yet. It just says there are no changes to the ownership or the shareholder structure of the club. But this does say to me that they are almost setting up potentially for some sort of investment or a sale. Gary says they are putting a lot of trust in Vinay. They are. I can actually see him moving into a role within UEFA, potentially. Paul O'Keefe had a good theory regarding Joe Lewis' family becoming more involved in the club. There was a rumour going round that Joe Lewis doesn't actually have that much involvement anymore with Tottenham. Apparently, it's his daughter, and again, this is kind of speculation. Apparently, it's his daughter that is running things now from Enoch's side. And apparently, they were not necessarily fans of Levy, which is why they have looked to bring in Peter Charrington. Peter Charrington is someone that has been very close to Enoch over the years, from what I understand and what I think. He's almost a bit of a someone to go in and kind of almost steady the ship a little bit while there's a lot of change, to kind of oversee a lot of change. Someone in the TikTok chat saying, I used to play for Tottenham Hotspur. I am live on YouTube as well, by the way. So if I'm kind of looking, like I said, I know you guys will know this has been in the start, but there will be new people joining the streams at both times. So if I'm looking over here, it's because I'm live on YouTube. If I'm looking down here, it's because I'm looking at the TikTok chat. When are you and Seb getting back together? Never. All I care about is Kulusevski. Now we're established, time to focus on the pitch. The fact that the new chairman is the director of Enoch means a takeover doesn't exactly seem very likely. Now, Peter Charrington, if we look at Peter Charrington's life, Peter Charrington was the former CEO of City Private Bank. Peter worked for City in 26 years in various countries and ran the global private banking business. So this was when Peter Charrington was appointed. We can announce that Peter Charrington, this was on the 12th of March, he was appointed. We can announce that Peter Charrington, director of Enoch and former CEO of City Private Bank, will be joining the board as non-executive director. There were some people saying that I don't know whether I don't know what his connections were with Enoch. We're just going to kind of look into that. Paul O'Keefe said that Joe Lewis's kids want involvement, proper involvement. Levy's vice-like grip on Tottenham was weakened. That is also something I heard about his daughter, yeah. I'm trying to find more about Peter Charrington's Right, here we go. I remember this from Return of the Shelf. So this was on the 7th of June. Return of the Shelf tweeted this, and I remember this. Peter Charrington's appointment to the board isn't just another exec hire focusing on corporate governance, etc., as we were told. He's the former CEO of Citibank, deeply embedded in both ENIC and Tavistock, and even lives on Joe Lewis's Tavistock estate in the Bahamas, a sign of just how close and trusted he is to to Joe Lewis and ENIC. This isn't about routine governance. Charrington looks like someone drafted in by Lewis or the Lewis family to take control, reset the direction, and steady the ship. And he started executing, a subtle but telling reminder who really owns Tottenham and who is pulling the strings. Now, this was on the 7th of June, which is when this was before Thomas Frank was appointed. I remember there was a lot of chat and there was a lot of speculation around Levy at the time, and that is what was said then. And it does feel like he was someone, like Return of the Shelf kind of said, to come in and sort of steady that ship and start making big moves within the football club that signify a big change. He's going to run Joe Lewis' new business in America, Levy due to maybe. Is there a chance this could be worse? Of course, I mean, sometimes it is better the devil you know, right? There is that theory as well, of course. Like it's almost like an excitement feeling, but also a bit of an anxious feeling. This. What else was kind of said? The thing is with the ENIC as well is that that. I think part of the reason that there was big investment this summer, was that they know they can't be in the same situation as last season again, right? Languishing at the bottom of the Premier League table, 17th, and even though we won the Europa League and we get the Champions League revenue from that, that can't happen again, because obviously that massively impacts them as a business in terms of revenue, etc., that comes in over a long period of time. So maybe that was kind of the straw that almost like broke the camel's back. In a way, it could be like how Josh Kroenke has taken control over Arsenal potentially, and that's the thing. When you get someone in younger, it might not be that ENIC is selling. Some of this kind of points towards a sale potentially coming, even though Spurs are saying there are no changes to the ownership or shareholder structure of the club. And ENIC has obviously got shares. Someone might buy Levy's shares out and inject cash into the business that way. Maybe that's what could happen, potentially. I won't believe it until I see it. Here we go. But Josh Kroenke is someone that's come into Arsenal and kind of taken over from Stan Kroenke with more of a focus on caring what happens on the football pitch. Come in and change the decision-making because they want that level of success, right? And he's changed kind of the trajectory of Arsenal as a result of that. So maybe if Joe Lewis's daughter or kids or whoever it is come in and take control from ENIC, from Joe Lewis, sorry, there's so much to kind of get your head around here. Maybe that they were like, we're not having this. We want someone that's going to actually care about the football side of things. And you can't say that Levy hasn't cared about the football side, but you can definitely make the argument there's not been as much focus on the football side as there should be, right? I think Daniel Levy overall has done a good job as chairman of Tottenham Hotspur, but also these kind of eras do have to come to an end. And I think, like I said earlier, he's left Tottenham in a better place than he found it, but it's also set someone up now to come in and really kick on because of the way that I think Daniel Levy, to his credit, in terms of how sustainable he has made Tottenham because of the building of the stadium and the revenue that brings in as a business and that money that goes back into Tottenham Hotspur. In terms of our PSR leverage, we are insanely in the black, so to speak, in terms of PSR. Is it the red or the black? I don't know. You know what I mean? We're in the good part of it, right? I always get that mixed up. But there is a lot of leverage to take over. If someone brings cash into the football club, if Spurs were to get minority investment or majority investment with ENIC selling all of their shares or selling Daniel Levy's 30%, or if Levy sells his 30% portion, there is a lot of PSR headroom to take advantage of if an owner was to come in. And that could really kind of kick Spurs onto the next level in terms of someone who wants to make decisions, whether it's to do with the wage structure. Mac has just said down there, is ENIC anything to do with the wage structure? I think that's more, well, it's ENIC and Levy in terms of wanting to make the club sustainable. But the more money that comes in, like at the end of the day, you need to spend money to make money, right? You need that to kind of become a successful football club. You need to spend money in the modern era, right? And Spurs, to be fair to Levy's credit, have still been successful. We've obviously won a trophy. We've won 2 trophies in Daniel Levy's kind of tenure as chairman, which isn't good enough for the teams that we had. You can't blame that all on him necessarily, right? It's also down to the manager and the players on the pitch at the end of the day. You can't blame it. We got to finals, semi-finals, etc. It's not Levy that can go and put the ball in the back of the net, right? But he was the one that was also responsible for Spurs not buying a player for 18 months and not kicking on from the football from a footballing point of view. However, yes, we were hamstrung financially by the stadium, building costs, obviously. That's something that you actually obviously have to factor in during that period. But ultimately, it held us back. And I don't think ENIC or Levy have shown enough ambition, really, since we've been in that new stadium. Like last year, we were 16th, I think, for owner investment out of every single Premier League club. Now, for a club that wants to compete at the top level, that has ambitions to win the Premier League and win the Champions League, which is something that Levy has said, you have to put your money where your mouth is. You have to put your hand in your pocket, right? To go and do that. The club, to their credit, have put their hand in their pocket this summer. Spurs had the 4th highest net spend of every team in the Premier League, spending £174 million to bring in Xavi Simons, to bring in Matisse Tell on a permanent deal, Kevin Danso to bring in Mohamed Kudus, to bring in Colomawani on loan, and to bring in João Paulinho as well. £174 million spent. Someone said he still owns the club, means nothing. Daniel Levy doesn't own the football club. He's left. He has left. The cheese room will go unused, someone said there. No change in ownership. No, of course. But yet, there are things that point towards Tottenham being sold. There are also potentially things that just point towards a change in structure in how footballing decisions are made at the club, with a new frame of mind within ENIC, who own the football club, to put more emphasis on success and put their hand in their pocket. Like Witchfinder General just said there, ENIC don't put a penny in. Like I said, last season, Spurs had the 16th lowest owner investment out of any team in the Premier League. And for a club that wants to have ambitions to win the Premier League and the Champions League, that is nowhere near enough. When you look at what's going in at Arsenal, when you look at what's going in at Chelsea, when you look at what's going in at Man United, Man City, all of these clubs that are showing that ambition and actually backing it up financially. You can't, if you want to be a club that wins the Premier League and the Champions League, you can't just rely on the money that is coming into the football club sustainably and generatively through the revenue sources that we have got, i.e. ticket sales, outside football events like the concerts, etc., all that kind of stuff. Arsenal haven't won the league in 20 years, Kempston, you're right, but they have shown the ambition since Josh Kroenke has kind of taken over from Stan Kroenke to make sure that they are competing. Like the highest net spend of any Premier League club this summer, 8 players brought through the door, Eze, Gyökeres, all those kind of players, lots of money spent. So, of course not. It's not just down... Winning trophies isn't just about the ownership. They, like I said earlier, they can't put the ball in the back of the net. Daniel Levy can't go and head the ball in. But obviously, it's about the ambition that is shown. And ultimately, Tottenham haven't shown enough ambition with Levy and ENIC to really kick on and take advantage of the situation that we have found ourselves in. Otherwise, they would have put more money into the football club over the last 5 years since we've been at that new stadium, right? Yes, we've spent decent money, but they've not put in enough to take advantage of the PSR leverage that we have got through the sustainable revenue streams that have been generated and created cleverly by Daniel Levy to really make us kick on and actually match the ambitions of the club that they continually say that they have. I'm pretty sure ENIC put in money at the start of the summer. Poseidon said they put in £120 million. Yes, they have. This summer, they have. But in previous years, like I said, like last year, we were 16th for owner investment in the Premier League, which is just crazy. Man United not won in 10 years, worse since Ratcliffe came in. Of course, yeah, it's not just about the money. It's about the decisions that are being made on the football pitch as well, or in terms of the footballing decisions. They brought more shares, which generates money but increases the ownership value. We need to kind of get to the bottom of what the actual cash injection was into Spurs this summer. I don't think anybody kind of really knows. H is going to be back next summer. I did call this in a TikTok video yesterday. Make sure, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to go and follow on TikTok. If you are watching on TikTok, make sure to go and subscribe on YouTube. We're kind of on the road to 20,000 subscribers over there, which would be massively appreciated if you guys can help me get there. If you're watching the stream and not subscribed, please do that. Saudi money, maybe. There's been rumours of Qatari money, Malaysian money, I think, as well. Who knows? Honestly, who knows? Netherlands versus Poland lineup. Your boys are starting. Xavi Simons in the team, yeah? Have a look. Little break from the Levy chat. Ben, try talking to us about the positive and negative we could take from this news. Of course, bro. Oh, of course I will. Netherlands versus Poland. Xavi Simons is starting, and so is Mickey van der Ven. Nice. But this is about Levy. We got our club back, says Dyer. Coys, what channel was the Netherlands on? I don't know, mate. That was a report from Ali Gold at the time. What was the report from Ali Gold at the time? They brought more shares, which generates money but increases the ownership value if they get sold, so it would be a great return. So that's another thing that points... What Kalen Waters has just said there. They didn't invest 120 mil. They brought more shares, which generates money but increases the ownership value. If they sold, they would get a greater return. So again, that's one of those things that potentially points towards the club setting up for a sale. As a Reading fan, be careful what you wish for new owners. Of course, that's the thing. The grass ain't always greener, right? Of course it's not. Of course it's not. And that's kind of the unknown part of it is obviously scary. But you've got to think that whoever would be coming in to own Tottenham, they're not inheriting a mess, right? They're not necessarily inheriting a mess if the club was to be sold. Levy has put the club in a very good position financially, right? And that is one thing you have to give Levy credit. He's always talked about that sustainability. Like Jamie says it there, Levy's put us in prime position for investment. And that, to an extent, is true. Levy strikes me as someone who achieved his goal with the stadium in 2019 and then didn't know what to do next. Yeah, that's a fair point. I think he kind of came to the end of the road and almost like took us as far as he could. There is a lot of potential for our club, says Casper. I agree. Like, if there is a cash injection to Spurs, there is really an opportunity for Spurs to kick on and become the sort of club that they have threatened to do. Give Levy credit for stability and non-football related matters. Great opportunity ahead. Exactly, yeah, Peter, exactly. Like, I'm not Levy's biggest fan to at all. I think he's taken the club as far as he can, and I think he needs to hand it over to someone who is better at making the footballing decisions. And also, I just feel like he's been here long enough now where he's there to kind of hand it over to someone else, and for someone to take advantage of, like I said, the leverage financially that he has given Tottenham. He has given Tottenham huge financial leverage and advantage in the current football climate with PSR because of the revenue that comes into the football club. Who's acting chairman? It's Peter Charrington. He is non-executive chairman. So Vinay Venkatesham as CEO will take charge of day-to-day stuff. And yeah, Peter Charrington's non-exec chairman who is very closely tied to Enoch and Joe Lewis and the Lewis family. So he will, it does feel like a little bit that Peter Charrington has kind of come in to almost like clear the decks a little bit to set us up to kind of steady the ship when there's big change. What's non-executive chairman mean? Non-executive means that he doesn't, I guess that it just means that he doesn't have day-to-day control over the decision-making. That's down to Vinay Venkatesham as the CEO, right? Do you have anyone in mind for the next owner? Mate, no clue. Is Levy going to sell his shares? He's still got them at the moment. Honestly, we don't know. Potentially he could, he might not. I'd imagine I imagine someone might buy Levy's shares out. I'm kind of sad he's left. I think it's way too overhated. I think the thing is with Levy, right, is that I tweeted this not long ago around the Eze saga. Kind of talking about the fact that I think Levy kind of gets unfair stick in the sense that almost sometimes he gets blamed for things that aren't necessarily his fault. And everyone kind of immediately attaches everything to Levy when things kind of go wrong. But when you look at not moving quickly, not being snappy enough in terms of the decision-making on players coming through the door and all that kind of stuff, like, that is where he massively lets himself down. That's where he's massively let himself down. And also, a lot of the chairmen in the Premier League don't necessarily want to deal with Daniel Levy because of how difficult he's made it for himself as such a shrewd businessman. ENIC's not out, no. ENIC are not out. Levy is gone. There were rumours about this at the start of the summer. Like, this is a crazy day for Tottenham, really. Vinay will now have controlling power. Johan Lang and Parachi and transfer power, while Frank will now also have greater control. Personally, would like to see Levy stay in charge of non-football operations. I don't think many Spurs fans would have minded Levy staying in charge of non-football operations, but I also think sometimes when someone's been there for so long, it's kind of good for a fresh start to kind of move on. Also, if you're not following on TikTok already, please do, because I'm very close to 100,000 followers. And if, like I said, on YouTube, if you're not subscribed, subscribe over there, and also come over to TikTok and follow. Levy's run 2018 to 2023 was unforgivable, IMO, and took him beyond redemption. 2023 to now, we have had a good shake-up recruitment-wise. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like, I appreciate the fact that Levy was hamstrung financially by the stadium in terms of being able to back the team. But, you know, I think ultimately the reason we kind of did underachieve with Poch and all these kind of other managers was because of him. Is there a chance the club became frustrated with Levy with his direct involvement over both Eze and Morgan Gibbs White deals? Potentially, but I feel like it was in the pipeline for longer than that. It's quite hilarious, really. Nothing really changed until the Lewis family sell up. It's like changing team captain in simple terms. ENIC still controlled the spending, but there also is a shake-up within the football club in terms of the decision making, and also change of at ENIC as well. Like, if Joe Lewis is kind of stepping back and someone else is kind of, even if ENIC still have control over Tottenham financially in terms of the money that's being put in, if it's someone else making the decisions who kind of care more from the footballing side, like we've seen with Arsenal, where they've got the same owners, but someone else has kind of come in, like Josh Kroenke compared to Stan Kroenke, like, you can see change be made. I'd say the only thing that changes for now is that those that Levy is infuriated over the years regarding transfers may be now happy to deal with someone else, potentially. No one really hates Levy for the off-pitch decisions, particularly. He just shot himself in the foot in the decision-making on the pitch. Yeah, exactly. I don't think any Spurs fan would discredit Levy for the position that he has built Tottenham to. Look at Rob Harris' tweet. We're getting a bomber. Will's on holiday, man. I want to do an emergency daring and doing, but he's on holiday. Interesting. Right, this is interesting. Rob Harris from Sky News. Source close to Lewis family tells Sky News generations of the Lewis family support this special football club, and they want what the fans want. More wins, more often. This is why you have seen recent changes, new leadership, and a fresh approach. Source close to the Joe Lewis family, majority Spurs owners, tell Sky News after Levy goes, in Vinay, Thomas, and Peter Charrington, they believe they are backing the right team to deliver on this. This is a new era. So it might be a case of like a Josh Kroenke, Stan Kroenke kind of situation. Look at Paul O'Keefe replies. Very interesting. Well, this is what he tweeted on the 11th of July. I understand there will be investment to Tottenham as well as a large sponsorship deal for Tottenham. I wonder if that investment is going into ENIC as well, rather than actually a takeover. Didn't need to hit a man while he's down. Yeah, that is, yeah, Gary, you're right. That's a little bit like, yeah, we're really glad we got rid of him. But it feels, from the PR that's kind of being put out, and let me know whether you agree in the comments, but it does feel more like an Arsenal kind of situation in terms of not a change of ownership, but a change in mentality. Do you guys agree with that? Would you agree? Joe Lewis is 88 now. He's selling Got to Be. Yeah, but also, like, Joe Lewis might just hand control down to his children, right? He said Joe's nearly gone from he's 88. Like, there is every chance that he's not alive soon, you know? He said Joe has nearly gone from Earth and his kids want more involvement and a lot to do more. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it does fit. It feels, and let me know if I'm right. Put a yes or no in the comments. Do you guys think it's more of an Arsenal situation? Yeah, talk to Frank. Just seen that, mate. I still think that's the thing. Tottenham can. ENIC have got so much money. They have got a lot of money. They are a very rich company. You could make Tottenham a successful football club without selling it. That's the thing. You're very intelligent, bro. Big up. Thank you. Thoughts on Murillo? Good player. ENIC won't go. ENIC probably, maybe we're not being sold. Maybe there is investment potentially coming into ENIC, but they are still going to be the majority shareholders of the football club. This may be unpopular, but I think it's going to be an overall negative change. I think it's a getting prepared to sell situation. You think? I'm a bit torn. Yeah, those kids are sitting on a fortune. Yeah, that's the thing. The kids might decide to sell it. As you can interpret that in kind of multiple different ways. As Tottenham fans who the Lewis family are, who the younger generations want to see Tottenham succeed and have had the same frustrations as the fans have, their decision might be to sell it because they are sitting on a gold mine. So they might decide to sell. Who's the new chairman? It's Peter Charrington. He's non-executive chairman with Vinay Venkatesham as the CEO. Can someone just explain the difference between a non-exec and an exec? Spurs club statement on Sky Sports News. Have they just released another one? No. Let's just have a quick look at Twitter. Spurs women have made a signing. Tottenham fans right now. Everyone's celebrating. What do you think about Peter Charrington? It's hard to know, really, mate. He's very close to Levy and sorry, I keep saying Levy. Lewis and ENIC. Non-exec means no financial decisions. Basically, a figurehead executive makes decisions. Yeah, okay. So Vinay Venkatesham is in charge of the day-to-day decision making. Peter Charrington is kind of just overseeing that. Just means you don't get involved in the day-to-day, basically. Harry Kane back next summer. I did say this yesterday. Anyone watching on TikTok who would have seen my video knows that. Marinakis buying Spurs. Ben, how can the situation be negative? I don't think it is negative. Obviously, there is always the be careful what you wish for, grass ain't always greener, blah, 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 blah. So Vinay and Peter are both doing Levy's role together. Yeah. Are you worried at all about the possibility the vacuum left by Levy won't be addressed properly in time and will mess up our January window? Not really, to be honest. Because January it's not the be-all and end-all. Right, so what's Paul O'Keefe saying? So, someone replied to Paul O'Keefe saying, I think ENIC made him the sacrificial lamb. The new head honcho is an ENIC guy, so I expect more of the same. And this is kind of consistent with what some of the chat that was kind of being had at the start of the transfer window when there was rumours about this, that Levy was kind of being pushed out. Why have ENIC suddenly woke up and taken more interest? It's out due to the power transferring from Joe Lewis to others in the family. Daniel Levy still owns 25% of ENIC. Paul O'Keefe said, because Joe is nearly dead and now the kids have it, they want involvement, proper involvement. Levy's vice-like grip on Tottenham was weakened. That's what it feels like. So Vivian Lewis is Joe Lewis's daughter, and it kind of feels like she's kind of taking control a bit, really, and they want Tottenham to succeed. So it could be... It's very interesting to see whether this is Tottenham preparing for a sale or whether this is kind of just ENIC taking things more seriously from a footballing point of view. Let's be honest, we're finally recovering from COVID and new stadium finances. That is a part of it as well. I hate Levy, but people have to respect what you build. Absolutely, yeah, 100%. Vinay's good with the fans, but he's still too much like Levy. When this news about Levy came out and someone preparing a bid to buy the club, do you think they'll sell it or do they just want new investments? I kind of still think that ENIC want control, but also with fresh blood, essentially fresh faces kind of in charge in Joe Lewis's daughter, they would probably be more open to us. Someone said Levy had hair. On my YouTube stream, there's a picture of him almost like at the start and the end of his era. Any chance ENIC leaves? There is a chance they sell up. There's also a chance that they... This is a fair tweet from Poseidon. There's every chance they also just decide to be a bit more serious and put more money in themselves. I feel like Joseph Derbyshire says, I feel like it's a long-term takeover, so it's a minority shareholder, then it takes time to sell. Protest work? Yeah, I think, to be fair to change for Tottenham, they have worked. They made their message clear and he's gone. ENIC, an investment company at the end of the day, selling Spurs at 3.5 billion is a massive success. Oh, 100%. ENIC have had a blinder if they decide to sell. I will lock into Netherlands, Poland in a bit, but I'm just going to, keep going on this as the more news comes out. Daniel Poseidon says, thank you, Daniel Levy, for making sure we don't turn into the Aston Villas of the world. A man of many faults, but it will be characterised by what he left behind and its stark contrast to what he inherited. Can only hope he's successful will finally maximise the potential of this football club. That's the key thing. There is real potential for Spurs to kick on now. And as much as people didn't like Levy, you can appreciate what he has built and the leverage and the position that he has left us with. That is true. But on the other side of it as well, it is also very true that he has made bad footballing decisions along the way that have massively cost us as a football club. Not taking advantage of positions of strength, all right? Not investing in the right times. And that's down to ENIC as much as it is Levy as well, by the way. Of course. And I think sometimes the waters get a little bit muddied. The lines kind of get a little bit blurred. But yeah, I think that's overall right, the sort of sentiment. Well, I want to speak to Will. I want to do a podcast. Chris Willers, this was a tweet from Sean Walsh, not the comedian. Daniel Levy from 2001 to 2017 was, for me, unquestionably one of the best chairmen in football. Ran Spurs exactly the way a football club of that size ought to be. 2018 to present, it's a different story, and it's belatedly the right time for change. Foundations are all there, 100%. We don't have a new owner, no. Nothing has changed in terms of the ownership and the structure of the football club as yet. We have a new chairman in Peter Charrington. Let's see what everyone's saying. There's Xavi. Xavi Simmons is playing for Holland tonight, by the way. Jake, someone that I value his opinion on Twitter, Yedlin. Reality is all these mid-table clubs wish they could build themselves up the way Levy did with us, capturing global markets, world-class facilities, a stadium that secures us financially. The club outgrew him and he was terrible on the football side, but the foundations is phenomenal. Hear, hear. I agree with that. Very much so. Who's Peter Charrington? He is our non-executive chairman who was previously the CEO, I think, of Citibank. He's very close ties to ENIC and the Lewis family. So he's come in. He's been since March, actually. He's been here for quite a while. Oh, yeah, the guy that got banned for talking about Levy. Jesus Christ. He's gone. Levy's gone. Someone said now it's a 10 out of 10 transfer window. Thoughts with the camera operator specifically employed to get mid-game close-ups of Daniel Levy. Big up to anyone in the YouTube chat. Please make sure to subscribe. And if you're watching on TikTok, make sure to follow if you haven't already as well. I'm very close to 100,000 followers, which would just be monumental achievement. So make sure to follow and support. That'd be massive. It's hard to get too excited, right? You don't want to get ahead of yourself, but it's an anxious excitement about what happens next. That's kind of what it is. How does everyone feel? Tell me in kind of one word. Great on the overlap, mate. Thank you, Shano. Tell me in one word in the TikTok chat and in the YouTube chat how you feel. One word to sum up how you feel about this. Change in direction, generally positive. Those aren't one words, guys. Apprehensive, shocked, scared, absurd, ecstatic, devastated, gutted. I mean, I'm not sure if you should be devastated. Excited, relieved, ready, hopeful, nervous, excited, mixed fear of someone getting worse. There's always that. Yeah, there is always that. Optimistic. Bethel smashing it in the cricket. Good stuff. What are England chasing? 300 odd. Levy, ambitious, shaken, relieved. This is crazy, honestly, lads. And girls. I'm a Paul fan, but like your content. Thanks, mate. Optimistic. Worried, Andreas? Gonna remain on the board, though, isn't he? No. No. He's not on the board. He just has shares. But his shares are in Enoch. They're not in Tottenham. So Daniel Levy's left the football club. He's not still on the board. What's Carragher like in person? Lovely. Are you and Seb going to get back together due to this news? We'll have to see, mate. Ben, your puntry is now elite. Great work. Thank you, Mason. I appreciate that. Seems like such a random time for him to leave. I'm not sure it is, mate, to be honest. If this all works out like we wanted to, who are some of the players that you would want to see acquired that we wouldn't be able to get before Levy left? Messi? Go back in time? Mbappe? Someone said they're aroused. This new guy looks tighter with money than Levy, though. But he's a non-exec, so he doesn't necessarily have control of the financial decisions. Levy out completely, mate. Levy left. The champagne is opened. What direction do you think this will put Spurs in? Hopefully, the signs are for a very positive one. If Enoch starts to care and Vinay does the job, this could be monumental. Do you reckon the in-house staff, i.e. the players, knew about this? Don't know. Not a clue. What happened to you and Seb? Look, you grow apart in relationships. It's just normal. I wish him all the best for the future. No sale, no change. That's not necessarily true. I still think he owns a percentage of the team. He doesn't. He owns still has ownership in Enoch. He doesn't have any. Levy's kind of control over Tottenham now is gone. He's left. He's left. I think Kane is coming back next year, boy from the lane. I do agree. Stu, to be fair to Stu, he did call this drinking out an empty mug. I'm actually not, mate. Look at that. Coffee in there, mate. When do you reckon we'll be sold? I'm genuinely not sure. Even if we will be sold. Why is that mug so hairy? Good question. And also with Levy going, yeah, like Gary, like you said, Kane is probably even the comeback is probably even more likely now. When you're next on the overlap, mate, I don't know. I kind of subbed in for Flav, so it's Flav's chair. I owe that guy a hell of a lot. Is the Seb thing a joke? Does it look like a joke to you, Bradley? It's over. Who's your ideal own, mate? I honestly don't know. It's so hard to say. Like it's not like picking an ideal manager. Do you think the source of the problem to take this football club next is Levy alone? Not necessarily, no. But he's a big part of it. A tear ran down my leg when I read the announcement. If Kane is coming back, I'm starting an OF. Fair play to you. This is a monumentally significant day for Tottenham, though. What it means is another thing. Ben and Seb are the dream social media couple. We're like the Posh and Becks of the modern era. Get back together with Seb. I can't go on being a child of divorce anymore. Sorry, mate. Look, it's not. We need a bit of space from each other. Would you back a majority takeover at your interest in seeing where this goes with a new Enoch? I'd kind of rather Enoch pull their finger out and put the money in, to be honest, so it's not too much change. But it's hard to say what I'd prefer. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I think we've kind of got what we wanted now. I think there's kind of positives to be had from any sort of, I don't know. It's really hard to say. Also, my phone's going to die, so the TikTok live is going to end now, and I'm using my charger to plug into my camera. So I'm going to say goodbye on here. Come over to YouTube where I'm going to carry this on for another little while longer. So come over to YouTube because my phone is about to die. Links in the bio. Just click the little YouTube button. Come in and let's go. Nice one. I'm going to leave this now because my phone is literally about to die. Make sure you come over to YouTube. Right, it's just us guys now. It's just the YouTube lot. I reckon we could sign Vinny, Mbappe, and Salah. I reckon now he's gone. Who is Seb? Exactly, mate. I agree. What? Oh, thank you. And my dinner's ready, apparently. Let it all work out. Yeah, facts. What's Twitter saying? I'd love to be able to do like a call-in show. I might do that at some point. Try and work it out. Do like a call-in show where we can kind of come on and chat. What's everyone saying? Like, genuinely, what? Release the Patreon for call-ins. I would like to do a Patreon. I just don't want to I don't want to feel like I'm mugging you guys off. Like, just to kind of Patreon is something I would explore at some point. Yeah, it's something I would explore at some point. But I'd have to think of what the extra content would be, right? I don't want to just, I've been doing YouTube for a while now. I've built up 15k subs and nearly over 150k on TikTok on both accounts. It's like, I built up a good loyal audience, but I don't want to just be like, right, okay, obviously you make money from Patreon, but I need to think about what other content and stuff that I could offer you. So if you want it, I will do it, but I need to have a good think about what. Well, you guys, let me know what you want. If you want me to do a Patreon at some point, I will genuinely do it. If you guys want the extra content, but you guys let me know what you want, and I'll make it happen. You could start an OF. I could do that. I won't, but I could. Can't or won't. I don't even mean it in a rude way. I just don't think you've ever done an original idea. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. For example, you made a third account where you just post random videos like Seb and Rory. I actually made that before Seb, so get your facts right, mate. Imagine Enoch just get their act together now and start acting like a big club. That would be ideal, surely. Yeah, I think that's the ideal situation, is that we don't actually sell and Enoch just go, time to hit the button, time to hit the go button. You don't need extra content for Patreon. Do the blind ball. I don't know what that is, mate. 7 Ben OF? Not now, mate. Levy still owns over 25% of Tottenham. His shares are in Enoch. They're not in Tottenham. Well, I mean, Enoch obviously owns Tottenham, but do you think we'll get a big winger in January? Potentially, maybe go back in for Savinho. If they keep signing players at the level they did this, some of them all for it. Yeah, absolutely. Me too, mate. Kudus, Simmons, great signings. Palhinha, totally makes sense. Kolomoani, I like it as well. It does feel like there's been a bit of a change. Do you know what? This guy can just go. Do you reckon Kane is more likely to come back without Levy there? I think Kane comes back. I do genuinely believe that. Savinho, Morgan gives like Kane and Believer next time. We'll be there, imagine. The treble is on. Do you think it will change wages we can offer for high-level players too? Have a bigger pool? Yes. I'd imagine so if there is investment coming in. We don't know all the facts right now. So it's like this is literally all we know is this, and all we know is this. Generations of the Lewis family support the special football club, and they want what the fans want. More wins more often. This is why you've seen recent changes, new leadership, and a fresh approach. So either Enoch is staying, and can I increase my volume? Am I quiet to anyone? I'll turn myself up a bit there. I'm bumping. Are we bumping? Either they're setting the club up to be sold, or Enoch could just, like, without Joe Lewis. Joe Lewis has kind of stepped massively back because of his age, and his daughter Vivian has taken over. And maybe it's more of an Arsenal Stan Kroenke to Josh Kroenke situation. Anyone feeling slightly anxious? Obviously, this is what we call for, but now it's just so uncertain. Yeah, that's fair enough to feel like that. The unknown is scary. This is the biggest day in the modern history of Tottenham Football Club. Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Like, this is the most significant summer we've ever had. Winning the Europa League, getting the trophy monkey off our back, new manager, Levy steps down, or Levy's pushed out, really. Jeez, man. Morgan Gibbs White is due to face court hearing after allegedly failing to register an XL bully. I don't want him anymore. Honestly, I just want owners who have missions for the club and don't have the fear to put the money. Don't think Peter Chanchon is here for the long run at all. Yeah, it feels like a short-term kind of solution. And how does it explain your and Seb's breakup? I can't explain mine and Seb's breakups. I don't really want to go into it right now. Mad. If Kane returns, will it be next summer? I genuinely think he's going to be 33. He's 47 goals away from equaling Shearer's record. I think it could happen. Literally every Spurs fan will be tuning into the last one. Spurs, Paul O'Keefe. Yeah, we'll see. There's going to be a lot of stuff that comes out tonight. I think so. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Ben and Seb, co-owners of Tottenham. Look. I can take my savings out my ISA. I think Kane needs 3 seasons to beat the record. And he's going to want to do it. This window was a transitional one. Intent was there to be more ambitions. Happened a bit, but Levy couldn't fully do it, so he's out. Will players change their thoughts on the club now? In what sense? What do you mean, players coming into Tottenham or the players are already there? Who got custody of the Spurs fans, you or Seb? It's Seb on YouTube Live right now. I don't think he is, mate. I think he's on the golf course, so, you know. A 35-year-old Kane doesn't excite me much. I mean, he'll be 33 next summer. And also, you know, still in very good pomp. We're going out in Hartford. Let's do it, mate. Kane with Simmons, Matters could be cooking next season, potentially. Who's a better signing, Eze or Simmons? Well, we know the answer to that, don't we? Do you think Kane would go to another Prem club over Spurs? Obviously, he wanted City a few years ago, but now he's got a trophy. I actually don't think so. That might just be a bit of delusion, but I do genuinely think that Romero is convinced to sign a contract based on changes. That also wouldn't surprise me. Don't see Kane slowing down anytime soon. Yeah, neither do I, to be honest. Daniel Levy. Yeah, very clever. Right, lads, I think we've kind of, to be honest, taken this as far as we can with the news that we've got. We've had a good old chat about it. Keep locked into the TikTok over the next few hours. I'll be updating on there if anything breaks. There's videos that are going to come over the next few days. There will be a Kolo Muani video out on YouTube. There will be a what we've learned from Frank's first 4 competitive games, Super Cup and the 3 Prem games, coming out. Then I'm going to do a video on what Frank's best 11 could be. And also I'm going to do another video on probably Levy and Enoch tomorrow. Kind of just once it's all settled down and if we know more information. So keep an eye on it. You should be back on the overlap, mate. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you very much, guys, for all of the really kind support on the overlap. It really means the world to me. Like, I don't think it's going to be a permanent kind of thing for me. Like, Flav did me a massive solid by getting me on there. But, you know, I owe him so much. I don't want to... That's his spot, you know. But it really means a lot to me that you guys really enjoyed it. So thank you guys so much. So, yeah. More. Yeah, so YouTube over the next few days. Like I said, Levy and Enoch video probably tomorrow. Once we know more. What else? Yeah, what we've learned from Frank's first 4 games. Kolo Muani, how he fits in. And probably do one on Frank's best 11. So yeah, nice one, lads, boys and girls. Really appreciate it. Have a great evening. And yeah, keep locked into the TikTok content and stuff as well, because if anything changes, I'll be on there making videos. So nice one, guys. All the best. I never know if this live is finished. Didn't end, Ben. See, I can't see what I'm going to end it now because I can't. It looks like it's still. Bye.